forward. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. Like I said, dumbbells, mini band is an option, and then you also have that Pilates ball. I'm based here in San Diego, but I work with mamas all over the country, online, virtually, and in person when that's a thing. And so I'm really excited to have you here today. We're just gonna go find yourself in a comfortable spot. You can't see, but I'm just standing on a yoga mat. So we're gonna do a little bit of a warm up, and then we're gonna get started into our strength blocks. You're gonna have 4 blocks, and we're gonna do it based on timing, intervals. That way you can really judge, take your rest, and do as many reps as feels good in your body. So we're gonna get started with that warm up. I always start with some breath. So inhale up, and exhale, just let it go, round through the spine. Inhale, and exhale. On the next one, we're gonna end into a little bit of standing cat-cows. Inhale, and exhale to fold forward through the spine and roll up. Kind of give your belly a little bit of a look-see. And fold down and roll up. Reach up towards the sky, give me 2 more. And roll up, and last one. And down. Feel a nice release through your hamstrings. We're just gonna move into some arm circles. So I'm moving backwards, getting some mobility through the shoulders. California is a little bit on lockdown again, so we're back to fun and virtual. And forward. Just getting some mobility through the shoulder joints. I know sometimes our necks or shoulders and pregnancy get super tight. From here, we're just gonna go to standing marches. What that looks like, meet me there, just up and down. Maybe when you're ready, up and down. You can move the arms back. What we're really working on here is that pelvic stability. Use the lower abdominals to pull that knee up. You want to prevent that jumping side to side. Just in these standing marches, just getting the body moving, getting our core on board for the workout. From here, we're just going into some step touches, option to have the arms. We're going side to side. I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then you can join me, stay in your marches. We're going to go step tap, side to side. Maybe when you're ready, imagine grabbing something and bringing it right back towards you. Side to side, warming up from the back. Adding a little rotation, even getting into that side glute as we warm up side to side. From here, we're just going to go into a little bit of a sumo squat, toes out. Doing that sumo squat and reach. Stay in your lateral touches. We're going sumo squat and reach. Sumo squat and reach. Show me when you're ready. Squat and reach. Squat and reach. Really working those inner thighs. If this is bothersome through your pelvis, I just want you to take it to a nearer stance. Squat and reach. We do a lot of this in normal life. Grabbing stuff from the ground and putting it up top. I know I pick up a lot of my 2-year-old's toys and do this exact thing. From here, we're just gonna go side to side, opening up through those inner thighs, just side to side. So meet me when you're ready. This is kind of a quick bridge warm up, just getting the body moving, movement through the hips. And if this does not feel good, you're in those, just some side to side squats, or just some little dips, side to side. We are here in these rocks. From here, we're just gonna put some modified jumping jacks, keeping it low impact, feet stay on the ground. We're there in 3, in 2, and 1, side to side. In those modified jacks, if you're feeling good in your pregnancy, no leaking, no pelvic discomfort, and you're feeling good in that higher impact, you can go into that full jump. I think everyone's a little further along, so the modified jacks are probably gonna feel good. From here, we're just gonna go into some basic squats. Squats are great. With just some mobility and movement through the pelvis, get everything working and connecting. We're in those basic squats in 3, in 2, and 1. Just sit those hips back and up. Inhale down, exhale up. I cue a lot on breath in class. As we want to think about sending those hips back, rooting our feet into the ground below, keeping those toes and those heels on the ground as you stand up, watching that you're not tucking your booty under and thrusting forward, coming into that nice neutral position, ribs stacked right over hips. We're here for about 3 more. In 2 and 1. Down. Just gonna go into a nice side bend, squat, lateral reach. We're really almost done with this warm up. We have about 20 seconds left. And then we get right into that first circuit, lower body, lots of squats. That first circuit, we're gonna go through 2 rounds, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. First exercise is that squat, unilateral. So if you have a dumbbell, only holding 1 dumbbell. We have 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna get started in that lower body weight having unilateral. So if you're holding a dumbbell, you're only gonna hold 1. We're gonna be offset. Unilateral forces us as mamas to work on asymmetries and to also call upon our strong core to keep us nice and square. Hips square, keep us nice and stable. We do not want to focus, we want to be cognizant of any bearing down in our pelvic floor. So as we inhale down, exhale up. In terms of any pelvic floor contraction, always recommend consulting a pelvic floor PT, but you want to add that contraction that matches how hard you're working. So if you have a 50-pound kiddo in your arm, you probably need a little bit more support versus if you're just picking up a pencil. So I will cue on that. We're gonna start with that single arm squat for 45 seconds. We'll switch sides in the second round. I'll cue you on the next exercise. We're there in 3, 2, and 1. Just working on the squat. Inhale down, exhale up. As you progress in pregnancy, send those knees out so you make room for belly. Everyone's hip mobility is going to be different here. Imagine you are sitting back towards a box behind you. So you want to make sure you take advantage of those strong glutes as you stand up. Watching that those knees don't jet forward. You have about 15 seconds. Inhale, exhale up. I tend to keep my arm at my side, just resting with balance. You're in that single-sided. You have 3, in 2, and 1. Weight goes down, you have 15 seconds off. Next exercise, you're just in that body weight squat, heel lift at the top. Body weight squat, heel lift at the top. You're there in 3, 2, 1. Stay back at that little calf raise. What that's doing is that's really getting the glutes on the back side. That spot where your hamstrings and your glutes connect. Inhale, exhale. These rounds are very strength focused, working on different aspects of the body that are really important in pregnancy and mama life. So squats and glutes. I'm coming up on that calf raise. Notice that inhale, squeeze to the top. You have 10 seconds. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 15 seconds off. Next exercise, you're just in those lateral squat walks. Add a slight forward lean in your chest if you have any pressure in your low back. We're just in those low squat walks. Option to pick it up and do it with a little bit of speed. 3, 2, 1. I'm doing that squat walk, keeping it nice and low, keeping my knees apart, watching that they don't cave in towards one another, pushing down through this grounding leg, really working those side glutes. If I feel any pain in my low back, I'm gonna work a little higher, send my hips back, add that little forward lean with my chest. Working those side glutes in that little bit of a squat position. You have 10 seconds. We're going to start back at the top, that unilateral squat. Whew. You have 3, 2, and 1. Stand up, shake it out, grab your weight. We take a full break when we're done with the second round. Mamas are doing great. Grabbing the dumbbell. We're there in 3, 2, and 1. Dumbbell other side. Inhale, exhale up. A couple things to focus on. Our hips square, hips square. You want to make sure this weight is not pulling you forward. You want to make sure standing nice in that neutral spine position. Ribs over hips. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. When we reach the top, we're still in that nice neutral position. You already got like 10 seconds left. My job is to distract you. You have 3, 2, and 1. Dumbbell goes aside. I totally should have said this. If you do not have a dumbbell, it's not required. You can also use your water bottle or wine bottle. I know I wish I had more of those these days. We're going to squat and heel lift. 3, 2, 1. Squat and heel lift. Squat to heel lift. Really focus on keeping those feet grounded. Thinking about gripping into the ground below, almost like a screwdriver. The reason we want to keep our feet planted is this is really going to set up our core to function as it should. So when we tuck our booties under, we're tilting forward and back on our heels, our core, our glutes, not able to fully support us. Exhale. You got 10 seconds. Then we're going to go to those lateral side walks after a little bit of a break. You have your water break coming up after this, mamas. You have 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Get ready for those lateral squat walks. Remember, option to take a little higher and send that chest forward. Just a forward lean, sending the booty back. 3, 2, and 1. Just those squat walks. Side to side. Think about this bottom leg pushing. Keeping those knees apart. Make sure you're breathing. The biggest and most trickiest thing is to continue that breath and keep breathing through the exercises. You have about 15 seconds to go. Awesome job, guys. We have a water break after this, and we're going to transition to our next circuit. You have 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Grab a sip of water. Our next round, you're going to want those dumbbells. If you do not have a dumbbell, you can also use that mini band I showed you. So I'm going to grab my dumbbells. Our first exercise, first off, any questions? Anything pop up for you? Feel free to chime in the chat box, take yourself off mute. Totally cool. I'm going to go run real quick and close my door. I thought my husband would be gone longer. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to be into a hinge and a row. I'm going to start with that staggered stance. I'm going to demo this for you, and then we're going to get going. So you're going to be in what's called a staggered stance. So one foot is elevated off the ground, a little staggered. How you know you're in the right position is one knee is in line with one another. This is basically a single leg deadlift variation. We're really working on unilateral movements in this workout. So you're going to hinge forward, sending the booty back. So look at the booty goes back, like I'm about to go twerking in the club. Watching that lower back arch. Inhale all the way down. Give me a roll at the bottom, rise to stand, and squeeze. If this unilateral stance is uncomfortable for you, I want you to keep both feet planted. Just send the booty back and up. And you can alternate the row. Notice I have to be in a little bit wider of a stance because I can't get the weights there with the belly. So for this round, we're going to be 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, because we're going to be doing a lot of hinging. So I will be doing this with you, providing cues along the way. So if you have any questions, anything, pop in. And if you only have a menu band, You're just gonna loop it around one foot and row. We're there in 3, 2, and 1. So you have those dumbbells, staggered stance. Inhale down, row, rise and squeeze. So in this case, my right foot is staggered, this one. I know I'm mirroring you. My left foot is planted. So my left glute, this planted one is really doing the work. Inhale, stand. Hinge, row, down and up. Hinge, row, down and up. You have about 5 seconds. You have 3, 2, and 1. Let it go. Option to drop the weights if you just need to shake it out. We're simply just moving to the other side. So we're going there in 5, 4. When you pick up the weights, make sure you squat down. In 3, 2, and 1. So alternate. Whichever foot was planted before, simply switch sides. Think about your weight choice. How does this feel? You want to send that gaze, I know I keep looking up at you guys, but you want to send that gaze straight ahead of you. Don't want to tuck that chin, you don't want to round through the back. Just something you can stare at. Think about those arms, squeezing lemons underneath your armpits. So those lats, those strong muscles along your backside, stay nice and engaged. So we inhale on the way down. Inhale and stand. We have 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to drop my weights down. Our next exercise is just a bicep curl. So I'm going to grab lighter weights. I'm just holding 8. And I'm going to go into that wide bicep curl. Inhale, exhale. Join me when you're ready. Weights are right around my belly button. Take it out wide. Inhale, exhale. If this does not feel good, it's a little bit more of a challenge. For that wide curl, you just inhale, exhale. Just a standard bicep curl. Why bicep curls in pregnancy? Because how often do you hold a kid like this? I can tell you from experience, my 2-year-old is held in that position all the time. And with that bicep curl, we lengthen and contract. Inhale, exhale. You're less than 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop those weights. Shake it out. This is very strength-based. Don't worry, I'll do a little cardio at the end. We're really working those muscles that are going to really pop up in mom life. So grab your weights. We're going to hit that deadlift row other side. Inhale, exhale, stand. You're there in 3, 2, and 1. You're in that staggered stance, or both feet are planted. Totally up to you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Couple cues for 4. Remember those lemons underneath your armpits. Think about sending those hips back. Row flat spine. Exhale and stand. Watch that those shoulders aren't rolling forward. Nice and back. Give about 10 seconds. Row, inhale, stand. You have 3, 2, and 1. Simply gonna switch feet to the other side. Shake it out. Your booty and your hamstrings should be talking to you right about now. We're there in 3, in 2, and 1. Hinge, row, back, and stand. Don't worry, we will do some hamstring release at the end of this workout. After this, we're going to move into an EMOM, which means every minute on the minute. Rise and stand. We're going to go through that 4 times. We have about 10 seconds. You got this, mamas. Keep going. I know those back sides. We're doing a lot of pulling and hinging in this compound movement. You have 3, 2, and 1. Drop the weights. Grab a quick sip of water. For the next exercise, you're just gonna want a lighter, oh, I totally forgot the bicep curl, guys. We're going there in Less than 5 seconds. Woo. Can't forget the bicep curl. They're in 3, 2, and 1. Just going right into that bicep curl. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale. Exhale. A couple of things to watch for. You want to make sure we're not swaying forward and tucking our glutes. Nice relaxed booty. Inhale. Exhale. In that neutral spine, ribs right over pelvis. What that does is it allows our diaphragm, our breathing muscle, to really sit on top of our pelvic floor and let our entire core system work as one awesome team. You have less than 5, in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now put the weights down. Grab a quick sip of water. We're gonna go into an EMOM, which means every minute on the minute. And we're gonna do it 4 times. The first exercise, you're gonna grab those lighter dumbbells, and you're in a standing chest fly. We're gonna have 6 to 8. Let's see how we do. Let's aim for 8. Right here, just bringing those dumbbells towards center. If 2 is too much, I want you to alternate. We're basically serving the platter. Then you can either hold a dumbbell or drop it, and we're just in these standing marches we did in our warm-up. We're gonna do 8. So let's say 8 chest flies, 8 marches. We'll see how we do. I practiced before, but we'll go as a team and finish together. So we're gonna do 4 rounds of that. We're gonna start that minute, and whatever time is left after we finish, we rest. We're there in 3, 2, and 1. So you can do that 2, 1, 2, or you can alternate. 3, everyone's gonna be different, finish at different spots. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm gonna drop my weights, bend down, and I'm just in that march. 1, 2, 3. If I need to, I'm holding on to something for support. 6, 7, 8. Now I have about 20 seconds to relax. The reason we're doing this, we're working on those chest muscles, which are really important in pregnancy. We're working on balance. We're also working on these hip flexors and pelvic stability. If you want to take it up, you can really get into those marches and elevate it. We're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Elevator 3. First trimester mamas, you can take those into high knees. Maybe second trimester, you can even do grab an elevated surface and go into some taps. That might work too for third trimester. Just really focusing. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Always bend down to drop versus rounding through the back. 6, 7, 8. So I have about 12 seconds to rest. We're doing this 4 times through. Check in with your weight choice. How does the chest fly feel? We're starting again in 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to try both this time. What we want to avoid is that leaning forward. You control the weight, mama. So I have 8 pounds. It's going to be a little heavy, so I'm going to do alternating side front raises. 6, 7, and 8. I drop the weight, and I go right into those marches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I take the rest as a break. This is our last round, and then we're going to move our way to the ground for a little bit of core, or excuse me, glute and core work. So we're starting in 3, in 2, and 1. Raise. This is definitely a strength-focused workout, giving you some ideas of things that can happen and things you can do during pregnancy. Yes, there are certain things we typically just aren't going to feel good in our bodies at a certain point, but strength training is so awesome for the body during pregnancy, as long as it's okay by you and your doctor. I'm just going to do one more each side, because why not? Last one, we're going into those marches. I'm going to add my arms, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. You guys have about 15 seconds to finish up and rest, and we're going to move down to the floor. I'm just going to turn this down so you can see my mat. We're going to go, notice I have a collection of things down here, so I'm going to move so nothing is in my way. I have my Pilates ball that I'm going to use for this round. If you don't have a Pilates ball, like I said, a pillow, a soft squishy animal, or nothing works just fine. During pregnancy, we want to roll from our side to our back. This is letting ourselves just kind of collapse on the ground. So we're going to roll from my side to my back. And I'm going to place this mini ball between my thighs. So what we're going to be targeting here is our adductors, our inner thighs, which are like an anchor into our pelvis and our pelvic floor. So something we want to be mindful of during pregnancy. We're going to go to a glute bridge with that ball squeeze. I'm going to get my timer set here. We're going to be here for that 45 seconds, and then we're going to transition just right on our side to a side leg raise. So we're going to get started. We're going to add that squeeze at the top. I'll cue you as we go. Inhale and exhale on the way up. We're getting started in 3, in 2, and 1. So inhale, exhale, and squeeze. Inhale down. Feel that nice rib expansion on the inhale, letting all that air flow into your sides, your back, a little bit into your belly, up and squeeze, keeping that upper back glued to the ground. An option to put your elbows here. That's a great just tactile cue to make sure that you keep that upper body glued to the ground. Inhale, up and squeeze. If you're feeling this all in your hamstrings, I want you to inch your feet a little closer to your booty, so you can touch them with your fingers. Inhale, up and squeeze. You have less than 5. Up and squeeze in 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to remove the ball and just roll onto my side. We're going to be here for a side leg raise. I can put my elbow down and rest here. I get my body in a nice C-curve position. Hips are stacked. Foot underneath is kind of tucked under. And we're just going into that side leg raise. Foot is flexed. You're there in 3, 2, 1. 45 seconds. Our goal here is really to focus on that slow control movement. We're not going up crazy with speed. It's really isolated to focus on these side glutes. This is core right here. Glutes, pelvic floor, our BFF. We're working all sides of the glutes today. Glute bridges, squats, hinges, and these abduction exercises. Next up, don't you guess it, we're just going to hit the other side. Inhale and exhale. On that exhale breath, belly pulls away from my hand just slightly. Awesome job, guys. You have less than 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Give this a little love. You're just going to push yourself up and swing around to the other side. Get yourself situated as long as it takes. Bottom leg goes under. And we're getting started in 3, in 2, and 1. 45 seconds. Top foot is flexed. This is just going to help us get into that muscle a little bit better. We want to make sure our hips are not rolled forward or rolled back so our ribs flare out. We have that gentle C-curve as much as possible in the belly. And our hips are nice and stacked. You have the option to hold the dumbbell right here, but quite honestly, body weight is usually enough. For the second round, I'm going to give you a different variation because I know this is a really long time to do side leg raises. Awesome job, guys. Less than 10. In 3, 2, 1. Give that hip a little love. Push yourself up with that hand, and you're going to grab your ball. Just going to stay on this side since I'm already there. We're going to get back into that glute bridge. Place that mini ball between your legs, or pillow, or nothing. Totally fine. And we're going to go back, right back to that glute bridge. We're there in 3, 2, 1. If the glute bridge, oh my goodness, if the glute bridge is not feeling good for you at this stage in pregnancy, you're going to be up on your forearms. Apologies for not sharing this before. Into that reverse tabletop. Inhale, exhale. You can also still keep that ball between the thighs and add that squeeze. Inhale, exhale. Chin stays slightly tucked as you perform this variation. So the glute bridge, hip thrust, reverse tabletop, those are 2 exercises that are really going to get into those glutes and give you some more bang for your buck. You have less than 10. Going back to that side position in 3, 2, 1. We're going to go into a bit of a clamshell. So knees together, still keeping those hips nice and stacked, just opening that top leg slightly. It's a small movement. Join me in 3, in 2, and 1. 45 seconds right here. It's that small, slight movement. But the clamshell is a great pregnancy option for targeting those side glutes, which are super important for hip stability. So I know we've talked, sometimes we hear about like the pregnancy waddle and different postural changes that happen during pregnancy. And getting into that side glute, that glute med, is really going to help with that hip stability and some of that side booty strength. Whew. Less than 10. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push yourself up with your hands, and you're just going to switch to the other side. Takes me a minute to swing myself around. I'm going to get back into that position, and we're going in those clamshells in 3, 2, 1. Just up and down. Small movement. You don't need to open up crazy through here. So sometimes in different fitness classes, we tend to go into it hardcore, but it's really just that small movement, side to side, or up and down, I should say. After this, we're going to do a couple little glute stretches. Awesome job, mamas. This is awesome full body strength for pregnancy right here. Just focusing on different areas of the body, giving you a little preview. Obviously, this is a shorter variation. No less than 10. In 3, 2, 1. Push yourself up. We're just going to go real quick into that figure 4. So you just work that side booty. So kind of put that foot over and kind of lean into it so we can get into that side of the hip. I know that sometimes for me right now, this area is super tight during pregnancy. Happens a lot with just different postural changes and some of that laxity through the hips due to that hormone relaxin. It kind of prepares our body for delivering baby. You're just gonna switch sides. Get into this however is easiest. For me, I kind of have to assist myself. I do a lot of different types of workouts, cardio-based, strength-based, HIIT, all the things. Today was definitely a more strength-based workout, but you can do a lot of cardio during pregnancy, even in a low-impact way, because low impact does not mean low intensity, but definitely strength training is super important. I'm gonna take those legs straight out in front. We're gonna do a nice forward roll to release through those hamstrings. I have to take a wide stance just because of belly, so whatever works for you. Take that stance and you're just gonna lean forward and come onto your elbows. Just feel that nice release through your hamstring. Obviously, if your belly is not as big as mine, you don't need to be quite so wide, but I have to make some room for this baby boy. From here, we're just gonna go into a few QL stretches, which is a muscle that kind of situates on the back side, connects into our pelvis and the back side of our ribs. So, you bring that foot in. I'm gonna have you take this hand in place of here for support, and then just reach over. Feel that nice stretch through this side back body. Then we're gonna switch sides and shift over. And I know based on time, I'm just gonna kind of end with a few stretches, but I did want to give an opportunity for some of that Q&A if you guys have any questions. So we're just gonna sit up and do a couple cat-cows. I'll give you a couple minutes for Q&A, and then we'll call it a day just to respect your time. So I'm gonna do that cat-cow just so I'm not totally facing you. We're gonna drop down, inhale, and exhale. As you progress in your pregnancy, incorporating a lot of mobility and just general relaxation exercises is going to be super important as you prepare for labor. So you want to work on that relaxation of the pelvic floor and just releasing tension through the body. Give me 2 more. Keep your babe a little high as you go into that cat position. Awesome job, ladies. Obviously, you can continue on with different stretches. With clients, I typically also provide different mobility and pelvic floor relaxation techniques and strategies. So I just wanted to open it up real quick. If you had any questions, you can either hop off mute or you can type them in the chat box. I'll leave this going for a couple minutes. I'm happy to answer them. And otherwise, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I know how hard it is to be pregnant during this time, and know that I'm here for you. You can give me a follow on Instagram or Facebook, Erica Friedman Wellness. I do monthly coaching, virtual and in person, and I also do group classes when those are a thing. And yeah, so if there's any questions, I know that someone, thank you, Valerie. I know that someone asked about diastasis, so I just wanted to address that real quick, and then any other questions, and we can go from there. And I just wanted to note that diastasis recti, or DR, is not, you can't really prevent it. It's going to occur in 100% of pregnancies, especially by the 3rd trimester, because it is totally normal. The expansion of the belly has to happen to make room for baby. And so essentially, this expansion is due to that linea alba, which is a line of connective tissue that basically runs from here down to your pubic bone, sternum to pubic bone, and kind of connects the 2 sides together. And eventually it's going to stretch, kind of like a pair of yoga pants you've had a really long time. Eventually they just start to stretch out and get a little thinned out. And this is totally normal for some mamas after a baby. The fascia things just kind of come back together pretty quickly, and you're able to generate that tension again. But for others, it might just take a little bit more work. So what could be a factor? Age, genetics, how big your baby is. For instance, if you are 5 feet tall and you have a small stature and you have a 8-pound baby versus someone who's 5'10" who had that same 8-pound baby, when you're 5 feet, there's not a lot of places to go but out. So multiples, there's a couple different things that to consider. A lot of it is genetics though, which is totally not within your control. After my first, I went to pelvic floor PT because I did have a diastasis, and if I hadn't gone to pelvic floor PT, I really don't know what would have happened. So I highly recommend doing that. Just in the sense that they gave me a lot of great feedback and tips, and I'm really glad that I discovered PT. There are a few things though that you can do in pregnancy that are going to help sort of minimize. Oh, I apologize, it's trash day. There are a couple things that you can do in pregnancy to sort of minimize the effects of diastasis. One is just to kind of do a postural check here and there. So I know I talked a little bit about alignment during the workout. So thinking about that neutral spine, getting that ribs, or excuse me, the diaphragm right stacked over that pelvic floor just allows for that core stability system to really work as it should be. So if we're constantly in this sway back, or we find our ribs thrusted up, we're just kind of putting outward pressure on those abdominal tissues. And then we also want to make sure our glutes are firing and able to support us through all these movements. And then also that core and pelvic floor connection. So understanding how to gain and release tension in the pelvic floor and sync that with your breath is going to be really important for supporting your whole core canister, not only when you're pregnant, but also when you're postpartum. In terms of any exercises to avoid during pregnancy, I typically avoid providing like a yes or no list, because as moms, we need to be able to do everything. But that being said, we typically avoid higher impact movements as we progress in pregnancy, just because there's already a lot of downward pressure on your pelvic floor already with the growing baby and all of the fluid and everything going on. So just adding that additional impact can be challenging, and it's not always comfortable. Another thing is front-loaded exercises. So if you're thinking push-ups, burpees, plank positions, because we tend to have a lot of weight bringing things down towards the ground. And then deep twisting movements. So twisting in itself and rotation is not off limits, but I find as you reach your second, third trimester, a deep twisting movement doesn't really even feel feasible anyway, so it's probably easy to take out. The biggest thing I want to say is I want you to listen to 4 things about your body. If someone says, oh, just listen to your body, what does that mean? Are you having any peaking or doming through the midline? That tends to look like almost like a football or a tenting through your belly. So if you are in that down plank position, do you see like almost like a doming sensation come from your belly? That's a sign that that exercise just might be too much for you right now, and it's creating a little bit too much pressure through your midline. Peeing, if you're having any sort of leaking sensation, peeing or feces or anything, or uncontrollable gas or anything along those lines, that's also a sign that that exercise may be a little too much for your body right now. Pressure in your pelvic area. I also have pubic symphysis pain during my pregnancy, so I modify a lot of different movements. So sometimes when our body responds with any type of pressure or pain, it's a way of telling us that maybe this exercise is not what I should be doing at this moment in time. And sometimes we might actually notice it like 10 minutes after we finish. So just staying in tune to that is probably my biggest recommendation. And so to answer the long question, diastasis is not really avoidable, but you can do a couple of things during pregnancy to sort of minimize, maybe, or set ourselves up for a better postpartum recovery. So that connection breath, understanding if and when we do need to add a pelvic floor contraction, and how to sync that with our breath and kind of how that core system works, and just general postural awareness, and taking every activity in daily life and thinking about how we do it, how we position ourselves. So little things like when you're standing, trying not to kind of always like lean into one hip or going to that sway back posture, because this is putting a lot of outward pressure on this abdominal area, and we're turning kind of our glutes off. So we want to keep glutes nice and unclenched in that nice neutral position, ribs stacked right over the pelvis. Are there any other questions that I can help answer? Feel free to drop them in the chat box or head off mute. Otherwise, when I share this recording, I'll be able to kind of give a little bit more info and maybe share a little bit more with you guys. And thank you for joining us from Houston too. Oh, yeah, so glad that was helpful. Awesome. And if you have any questions, you guys obviously have my email because I emailed you guys about information. So feel free to reach out, and I'm here for you at any time. And like I said, I offer monthly coaching, and we'll be offering different classes here and there. So hop onto my email list because I also talk about those and send along free videos. Otherwise, have a great day, mamas. It was really nice to meet you. Feel free to email me back too and share more about yourself and your pregnancy. And I hope to hopefully virtually meet you at another point in time. And I'm also based in San Diego. So if you're local, please say hi, and hopefully we'll get a chance to work together or sweat together in the future. Bye, mamas.